Hi, welcome to Stories and Spoilers, the podcast. My name is Alyssa. I am your host, and I am here with an amazing independent author, the author of an up-and-coming romance and beautiful, well-built story called the Evergreen University series. Without further ado, here's my friend Nisha.
Hey, we here.
Hey. And just to make
We're
sure I
here.
said your name
What's
right, is that the
up?
best way to say your name? Is that the best way to pronounce it?
Yep, it's just Nisha Sykes. Yep, that's what it is.
Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. For those who don't know, tell us a little bit more about the Evergreen University books.
Okay, so it is a three-part series based on a group of girls who all of them are Bookstagrammers. And yes, they all have their own personal preference. Tabia, the first book, she's just a romance. Sophia is fantasy, and well, it's romantasy. She loves both. And as for
Ooh.
Holly, she is fantasy and thriller.
That is so creative. What sparked your idea for this whole series, like each girl and where their stories end up going?
What inspired me is life experience that I had gone because for Sophia, who's Loki my favorite, she's a theater major, and I had did a musical before back when I was in high school. I was like, okay, this is gonna be for her. And I want and as a black girl who go through certain things that no other woman wasn't even want to speak about, such as like family laws, depression, and shit like that. Well, wait, can I cuss?
Yeah. Oh, I
Okay,
curse a
okay,
lot. You
cool.
can totally curse.
Okay, so um yeah, when it comes to speaking of about identity, sexuality, not having that many support in within your family as you should, I want that to speak it in life
Hmm.
and not have romance is romance is like the plot, but like the focus is what they're going through.
Ooh, I love that. I mean, we have spoken before the podcast. We've been DMing for a few months, which is crazy. I feel like you've become my friend through social media, and I can't wait to see when your books come out, to be able to share them with friends and family. I honestly just feel like when I look at the edits you make for the characters, I get so excited. Like listeners, if you've ever seen a collage, like an edit on Instagram or Pinterest about a certain character or the vibes of a book, I make them all the time. I literally
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm excited to see women in college. I'm excited to see these girls all friends, all loving books and how that intertwines with their romances. I also love seeing the tropes of what you're going to be putting in each book. I'm literally kicking up my feet. Like I'm so excited. I did want to ask, what has been your writing experience while developing these books? Do you see everything in your mind when you write it? Is it like a movie in your head, or is it more like as you write, you're beginning to see it all kind of come together?
Well, you wanna know a fun fact? When I
Yeah.
when I be like writing down like certain scenes, I actually act out the parts.
What? That
I
is
actually be
so
acting it out at
smart.
home.
Like a monologue, like a screenplay almost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I hear you. So are you telling me that if your books became movies, that is something you already kind of see in your head? Because in a way, they're written like a script, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay.
That's
That's
I
cool.
remember at a point when Haunting Annaline was popular on TikTok, and it had like a certain song to it, and the song literally just came out too. I wanted that to be me so bad. Like I want people to relate my series to a song. I hope. I
I
want that to
love
be me so
that.
bad.
Say less. When your books come out, I am that girly where I have made playlists for entire books. Where I listen to a song and I'm like, man, this fits this couple. And I'm like, you know what? I'll make a book review or I'll make a book edit or something, or I'll make an entire playlist on Spotify just for these characters in my head. Like what would have played in the background. I am that girl. Like I love music and books. Speaking of, for each one of the couples in your book, do you have a song you associate with them?
Oh yes, I do. Yes, I
Ooh,
do.
I love that you're
Um,
ready. I love that you're prepared. You're like, yeah, actually, I do. I'm ready.
I actually do. Let me get my notes real quick.
Ooh, say less. Also, speaking of romance and book to film adaptations, I know that there has been an adaptation coming out recently for this series called My Fault or Our Fault. And like I kind of like what's going on right now, where it's like, even though it may be like three books in a series or four books in a series, they're actually doing the first movie in like maybe I think it was in like Spain, and this in the same characters have been readapted for like London. I would
Ooh.
love to see like when your books come out, like it would be so cool to see them become a movie, and there's a US version of the adaptation, and there's like a UK version. That would be kind of cool. I don't know. Like I like casting like celebrities in my head when I read books. So like literally looking at like the depictions of your characters and like the vibes you're going for, I'm like, oh, I could totally see this becoming like a mini series or like a movie series.
I can see it on Netflix.
I could as well. Let's
Like
make
Gina
it
in Georgia.
happen.
I can see that.
Yes. Would you rather see it as a show or a movie?
I can see it playing out better as a show.
Heard. Heard. What were your musical choices? I'm like so excited. Tell me. I'm so
Okay,
excited.
so so for the first book, it has a whole R&B vibe with Summer Walker, SZA, and Brett Fayez.
I love these vibes.
Then for the second book with Sophia and Melvin, um, they got the LaFay, they got the Pink Panthers,
Okay.
they got the Sabrina and Carpenter.
All right, flirty. When I think Pink Panthers, my partner loves them. I just think that she sounds so fair, like fairy-like, but then her lyrics be sad as heck. Like they be sad. I'm like, okay, girl, but she's got an angelic voice, so I like the vibes.
It's angelic as fuck. It
Yeah,
feels like like specifically her, LaFay, Summer Walker, and Janae Aiko can only understand these three girls.
they all come from like the same pixie world, like the same way that Doja Cat released like Planet Her. The moment I saw the title for that album, I was like, oh, there are certain singers that would be on the same planet. Like I feel like Jhené Aiko and SZA would be on the same planet. Like they're from the same
Yep.
planet. That the vibes match, you know? Frank Ocean and like Childish Gambino, same planet. I feel like they'd be in the
Yeah.
same planet. I love that you associated it that way. I'm like, me too. They're the
Oh,
same
one more
planet.
thing. As for Holly, the girl you love,
Yes.
Holly, she got TV girl.
Cute. Okay. I think I saw a cover of Lovers Rock from that artist, and it was actually really, really good. So I'm a sucker for a good cover. Out of all of the books like you're developing and you're creating, which book do you feel like you poured the most of yourself into?
I will definitely say, um, creative wise, I say book two, but emotionally, I will say book one.
Wow. I mean, like, do you feel like as you write these books, you can see yourself like, man, I want to do a spin-off with these characters, or I maybe want to do like an epilogue like 5 years in the future? Or do you just kind of want to end it?
Honestly,
Like,
yes. I really wanted to do an epilogue.
I love
I
a
was
good
actually
epilogue.
thinking, remember when I had posted the side couple,
Mhm.
Cameron and Caleb? I was thinking about doing a spinoff with them too, since we kind of already had started off with
Do
the
it.
other three.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, do it. I feel like the Kermit the Frog where he has the cloak over his head. And he's like, I don't think I should do it. He's like, do it. Why not? Don't be scared. That's literally me. Like, as you're talking about your books, you're like, maybe I should. I'm like, do it. Would anyone read it? I would read it. And I know many people who would read it. Are there any like challenges that you find yourself facing while writing?
The only challenge that I will be ending up facing is making sure is like the pacing is correct because like it's supposed to be a slow burn, but I don't want to rush anything either. But at the same time, I don't want it to go too slow.
Are all of your books slow burns?
No, that specific book is, but like I still worry about the pacing a lot because I just wanted to make sense.
I totally understand that. I think that for me, like if a book does not like hook me in and pull me in within the first like I usually give it like the first 50 pages. I try, especially with a slow burn, I try to like find what I love about the couple and why they would make a good pair. And honestly, some of my favorite romances have been slow burns. You know what I mean? Um, I guess like I'm a little curious, like what book trope do you love and what book tropes do you not love and you didn't include in your series?
Um,
And you can be
I'm not gonna lie,
honest
this is
because
a list.
yeah, you can be honest 100%.
Okay, I love academia rivals. I'm here for that.
Me too.
Um, I love the grumpy and sun. I love the grumpy and sunshine. I love the sunshine and sunshine. I love the black cat specifically for the Doberman instead of a golden retriever. Um, with I know I'm not gonna say I don't like these tropes. It's just that this is certain way you have to execute them. For example, age gaps. That
Mm.
could be.
It depends. It
It really
definitely
depends. It
depends.
really, really depends.
I mean, like, I will say this, like, I have an entire episode about like romances that fade to black or like closed door, where the spice is not mentioned on the page. Because I had a few readers like express like, hey, like as a listener, I want some book recommendations with romances that like the spice stops, like they may kiss and then like it fades to black. And there's some books where I'm like, that totally makes sense. But I also love spice, and I'm a mood reader, so I switch. For me, when it comes to age gaps, I do associate that with like spicier books. I have yet to read an age gap that wasn't spice related. I'm sure they're out there and they're probably amazing. But Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas was my first age gap romance I ever read.
Can we like not?
Bruh. And I know some people are like they love it or they hate it, which is like I understand. There's some books that are very like divisive. Like you mentioned, what was it? What was it? You mentioned a book. It was Haunting Adeline. That's very divisive. Like some people adore that book. They have like 20 different editions, and some people can't stand it. Personally, for me, I liked the originality of the book, the haunted house element, the different point of view from like her grandmother and like the diary entries. I liked the Gothic era, but I will say this, like I think there is a way to have a dominant character who still listens to the main character and considers her opinions and considers like what she
Who
is
still
and is
has
not comfortable
humanity?
with.
Who still has humanity?
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
feel like he was always listening to her. And that was my only like there are a lot of things, but that was one of my biggest like oof. I don't feel like he like listened to what she was actually saying.
I'm not
And
gonna lie. Please don't
he
hate
was
me, but it was
very
giving
insta
Predator.
love. It was instant. The predator element is 100% true. I will say this, I in no way in this episode am I definitely I'm not shaming anyone's like kinks or like what they're into because I
Mm-hmm.
love a good spicy book. I like what is it? There's a trope that I really really like and it's not done very often, but it's like when the female main character is the one who's more possessive or who has traits that are usually only like oriented towards male main characters, like in All Yours by Daisy Kane or Daisy Jane, she has a character who says, I'm not crazy, I'm passionate. Like all the things that she does that men do in other books are considered like he's powerful, he's saying what he wants. When a female character did it, they're like, oh, she's obsessed, she's
She's
crazy. And I'm like, well,
crazy. She's
how's
doing the
that fucking
most.
fair?
The
Yeah,
plain
how's
and
that
fish in the
fair? You
sea.
guys,
Yeah,
yeah, they love it when a male character does it, but for some reason, when it's a female main character, it's creepy. I'm like, check yourself, because
that's
the double
not
standard is
fair.
showing. Exactly, like in academic rivals, if he's super, super smart and driven, he's just motivated. If the female main character is like, hey, I'm not going to choose you over my career, and I'm not choosing you over my future, everyone's like, oh my God, she's so uptight. And I'm like, is she? Or did she just say like what
Is
her
she?
values and goals were? I don't think, and that's why I love academic rivals, but they need to both be on the same level. Like they both need to be incredibly smart, incredibly like it's like you're not winning, I'm winning. I that's what I love. Like, that trope
I love friendly competition. I'm here for that too.
we love to see, or even like I'll take care of you. That is a trope. I will instantly buy a book where like she gets sick or he gets sick and they take care of each other, or like maybe there's a conflict in their family and like she'll come in and be like, I see you, like that wasn't right. Or when she stands up for, or she or he stands up for their love interest, and they're like, "Hey, you're not gonna talk to her like that." I'm like,
Oh,
"Mm-hmm, mm-hmm." He's a good man, Savannah. That's I was just,
because one man is doing that in real life. I'll wait.
bruh.
Let me stop.
Listen, I mean, I think no, I'm not trying to spoil it for folks, but there is someone in the show Love Is Blind who notices something very early on, and they're like, "Hey." That's not okay. And they say like I think this person's jealous of you. Like I don't think their best interest for you are like at heart. And it's someone in this girl's family who like at first I'm like, "Oh, I guess maybe there was a miscommunication." And the guy is like, "No, I think this girl has like bad intentions." And he was very upfront with his partner. He's like, "That's not okay." And I liked that. Like he was outspoken. He's like, "You don't deserve that." And I was like, I like respect. It's not really a book trope, but I love when there's like mutual respect for both characters. I can't stand a bully romance. Hate me all you want,
Ew.
y'all. I don't like a bully romance. I
Ew.
don't
It's like,
like it.
what's the point?
Why? It's giving I pushed you at the playground and I like you. I don't like it. I don't like
And
it.
the
I
main
like
character is so fucking weak.
I don't like bully romances and I don't like I'm gonna say her name because some people need to hear her name. Colleen Hoover. There is an author out there and
Ooh.
I'm gonna say her name because I'm not scared. Colleen Hoover wrote a book and it 100% to me, and I won't reference the book because I'm not trying to slam stuff, but there is a book that a male love interest almost burns this girl's house down. And his goal, well, she's gonna get out of the house and I'll be able to save her. It was a mistake. You endangered this girl to the point that she's fucking scarred, like physically and emotionally traumatized. And then years later, he's like, he writes a book and he's like, he admits in the book what he did. And she like reads the pages and she's like, it took her years to fall in love with him. It took like 6 pages for her to fall out of love with his ass. And then she's taking him back later. And I
Weak.
read this book and I was like, I wasted my money. This was insanely unhealthy and I'm never reading your books again. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I've never bashed a book on the podcast because I never want to shit on an author's love and attention they put into their work. But when you write certain things, I think you are perpetuating this is okay. Especially if you make it a romance and you're like, yeah, like he did this horrible thing, but he gets a happy ending at the end and love saved him. I'm like, he needs therapy. I'm like, we all need therapy, but this character needs some serious fucking help because he almost unalived her. And he's like, but I've loved you. And when he meets her, he acts like he doesn't know who she is, but he knows who she is from day one. I was like, no, that's a no for me, big dog. And I love taboo romances. I love taboo romances. That's not what this was. This was manipulation. And also the sexy scenes and the discussion of like intimacy was very shallow. No. It's a no for me, big dog. It's a hard no. It's a red flag. I don't do bullies. I don't do manipulation. It's not consent if both parties are not 100% aware of your intentions. And like, how was she supposed to consent? She thought that you guys met for the first time. It was a passionate. He knew who she was. He knew who she was right away. I was like, no, no, thank you. And some people say like, oh, you know what? This author, I would love them. I'll do anything for them. I have an author like that, and she writes amazing, wonderful books. But you know what she
I,
always does? Respect, mutual respect, consent, the bare damn minimum. She does the minimum and more. Gianna, if you're out there, I love you, girl. I ride for you. I ride it dawn. I ride it dawn. You know, I get a
right at
hardcover. I
dawn.
get the ebook. I get the audiobook. I'm on the ARC team. I'll do anything for my girl. You deserve readers who are supportive on that level because, like, I feel like authors, there's so much power in your words and in what you display on the page. It's heartbreaking, like reading a book and like it was advertised as one thing and then you read it and you're like, what? What do you mean? You know? I don't, have you ever had that experience where you like, so you saw something on social media, you got the book, and then it was not what you thought? You know what I mean? Like, it took a
Icebreaker.
turn. Is that just me?
Icebreaker.
Icebreaker?
Yeah.
I've never read it. I've heard mixed things. I've heard mixed things. I don't know.
I think because of Hannah Grace, I just think her books is not for me. Her books and then specifically Twisted Hate. I lost my love for TikTok books ever since.
I think I did read Twisted Hate a few years ago. I have a brain where like if the book isn't my favorite, low key I forget. Like that's really messed up, bro. That's so messed
It's
up, but
not
it's
messed up,
true.
it's what it is.
Oh, if the book didn't hit me, if I didn't cry for you,
It's kind of hard for me to even get into enemies to lovers anyway.
well, my partner's favorite trope is enemies to lovers. My favorite trope is like I'm torn between it was always you. Like the one where like the love interest was like the best friend or they always had your back and then you turn around and you realize like damn, like it was always you like you were always the one. I don't know. There's something about like being in the thick of it and then the main character is like, "But you don't love me." And then the love interest is like, "I've always loved you." I'm like, I get my wig gets snatched, my eyebrows are gone, I'm missing an eyelash. Like I feel like I get hit by a tsunami of emotions. There's something about it was always you where it like oh it hits me so hard.
It's always you.
There's something about I don't know. There's something about like not where they not where they like wait for that person forever. It's a very specific trope, but there's something about where it's like the person like if you called them right now, this sounds so toxic, but if you called them right now, they would break up with their girlfriend and run to you in a heartbeat and choose you 100%. It sounds like a pick me. No, it's something where like if you called them and they were like, "I need you." Fuck everything. They're coming for you.
Period.
I you came, you called. There's something about that trope, bro. There's something about yeah, I don't really need help. Everyone needs help. Who takes care of you? There is something about that trope. There's something strong in that trope. I can't describe it, but it grabs me. And then it's like, do you want a book like that? I'm like, I do want a book like that. And it's like,
I want to
bam,
live
here it
something
is.
like that.
It's a good book right there. That's a good. I feel like Channing Tatum in Deadpool. He's like, I've been waiting for this one. You're not ready. I came out ready. That's how I feel. And one of
I
my favorite
came
authors,
already.
I came out ready. Christina Forrest does that so well in her Green Sister series. All of the men fall first, all of them, and all of the men are black, and all of the men are like so emotionally in tune where the women are more indecisive and kind of discovering who they want and what they want, and they have reasons why they're navigating love in a different way. All of the
Mm-hmm.
male love interests are very like, I know what I want. I want you. I'm willing to wait. Let's talk about it. Like, there's something about that. Listen, I'm a queer woman, but I will read any kind of romance. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn because for me, a good romance pronouns and to me like it's important to be inclusive but at the same time I'll read any romance I'll read male male female female like non-binary trans I just want a good
As long as
romance
the connection is there and it works.
100% gender is so fluid and I feel like if an author can write a queer romance even though they're not part of the community they're an ally as long as they do it with respect and it's not like fetishized or like it's not done in a way where it's obviously like objectifying someone and it's done with compassion and love, I'll read that shit so fast. Like, I just, there's an art to writing romance. Same as there's an art to writing friendship. Like, I'm here for female friendship. Like, the moment I saw your book had three girls and like their friendships are all interlocked and so connected. I can't wait to read that. I have like a hole in my heart from the Green Sister series. So I'm like, where's the friendship? Where's the found family, bruh? I'm like, give it to me
You like
now.
found family too?
I love found family. What?
I love when a group of individuals could just become a family.
I also like I don't mind when it's found family and it's not for traumatic reasons. Because I think people associate found family with like something is messed up with the main character's like bio family. Sometimes that is the case, but sometimes I think found family can just be because of like maybe you went through a bad breakup and like there was one I will give her one redeeming cookie. One redeeming cookie. One. Colleen Hoover wrote one book. I read that puppy and it actually did found family beautifully.
You see
And
how
it
I'm
had
looking at you, right?
yeah. And it had deaf representation and it was very interesting. And it was called, I think, maybe Someday. And I read it when I was in high school. I was like a baby reader. And I remember like this girl gets broken up with. She's really sitting like on the curb with her shit, heartbroken. It's raining. She just walked in on her boyfriend cheating on her. It's horrible. And then before this all happened, she was sitting on her balcony in this big apartment building. And across from her was another apartment building. And she sees a really cute guy playing guitar. And she like screams out to him, like, "Oh my God, I love your music." Like she listens to him all the time. And he never responds to her. Like he never looks up or anything. One day he does look up and he like plays this song and she starts writing down lyrics that like go with the rhythm of the song. And
Oh.
they talk a little like they somehow communicate in a way, but like never verbally. And then as she's sitting on the curb, it's raining, she's having the worst day of her fucking life. She punched her ex-boyfriend in the face because he cheated on her. And the cute guy, the cute guitar guy comes. One thing leads to another. She ends up moving into his apartment with like it's not what it seems though. She moves into his apartment and she's like in the spare room. And he has a girlfriend and he's deaf and his brother's like a guitarist. And long story short, he uses the rhythm from the guitar, like from the wood. And he used to listen to the like his music from like these like floorboards, and they find music as a way to become friends and then later become more. But the friendship dynamic in that roommate situation, there's another roommate, he's in love with another girl, she's super sassy. There was something about the way that she finds friends in this really crappy situation later on that was really beautiful. Like there was something about the way that it wasn't all about the romance. There were other things going on, and I was like, I like that. It does have a little bit of the cheating trope because there's emotional cheating, and it's complex, and I don't want to spoil too much,
And
but
that's why
like,
I'm making this face. Like I'm not here for that.
yeah,
I
I
hate
if I
fucking
remember
cheating. I
correctly,
hate cheating in any way, shape, or form. I really
yeah, I
do.
gotta be honest,
If
it's
you're
not
that
my,
fucking unhappy, just break up. It's not that fucking
yeah,
serious.
I agree. I agree they should have broken up, and I don't remember the reasons. I read this book so long ago, but I think there's something about like found family is amazing, but if another trope overshadows the found family, it's hard to negotiate that. Like, cheating is really rough. For some people, surprise pregnancy is the trope where they're like, "I'm so sorry, I can't do this." And I understand that. Like,
But
the
that's
only
because people don't know how to do math.
yeah, listen, the only person I will do surprise pregnancy with right now is Hannah Bonham Young because she did Out on a Limb beautifully, and I actually loved the way she wrote about it. But like, I don't think I've read besides Abby Glines and Hannah Bonham Young, I haven't read Surprise Pregnancy that much. I'm also a lesbian, so it's not really a concern for me. But I feel like I'm that person where it's like that's the kind of shit you watch from a distance. I'm sitting here and I'm
that's
like,
like
all right,
that's like
y'all.
that's like soap opera. That's like Young and the Restless type shit.
Nah, I don't know. I know I did an episode called Bookish Confessions where I think I messaged you as well, where people anonymously message me or ask in the comments like, "What's a bookish trope or what's a thing that you can't discuss on social media, but it's an opinion you have about books?" And a lot of people brought up surprise pregnancy is like pulling them out of a story. If they read romantasy, they don't necessarily want to read about that. They want to escape the real world into a beautiful fantasy world, which I totally understand. That's why I love monster romances. Girl, you could be in love with a merman in the ocean with a beautiful aesthetic seashell top and not have to worry about anything ever again. You don't have to worry about taxes. You don't have to worry about rent. You don't have to worry about
Taxes.
any of that. You can just worry about being in the ocean with your beautiful
No
aesthetic.
more bills.
No, you don't have to worry about anything. You have to worry about like combing your hair because you're in the fucking ocean with mermaids. All right? They got leave-in conditioner. They got everything down there. You don't have to worry about that no more. Like, I think that's my only thing where I'm like, that's the beauty of romantasy, where I just feel like it's almost like you can kind of like let your hair down for a little bit and just escape. The opposite of romantasy to me is a contemporary romance where it's very rooted in like real life. I'm like, damn. So that's why I'm very excited to see what you do with your series and how you incorporate like important topics, but also like the beauty of like romance. And like there is a lot of joy and there's a lot of hope. And I'm excited to see that.
There's a
Is
lot
there
of
any,
hope. There's a lot of silly shit.
there's a lot of silly shit. Like, do you feel like in your books there is a trope that's in all three of them?
All three of them.
Yeah.
With the girls.
Yeah.
Almost definitely.
What's the trope? I'm sitting here, I'm like,
Um, we
what is
got we
it?
got the we got Holly
Okay.
who is ready to fight,
Heard.
who's literally ready to fight anybody. We got Tabia who is down for it. We got Cameron who is ready to record, and we got Sophia who's literally the peacemaker. Like I feel like we could talk this out. I don't think it's that deep.
One of the girls was like, "All right, I need Vaseline. I need you to hold my earrings." Why do you need Vaseline? So they can't hold on to me.
Oh,
Oh,
you
it's
know
just
the Vaseline trick?
I'm sitting here, I'm like, for the ones who know, you know. And for
And
the
for
ones
those
who
who
don't
don't,
know,
don't.
listen, and for the ones who don't know, you don't need to know. My partner tells me to
Spoiler alert, she actually sprayed pepper spray on her hand first and then got to work.
not the spicy fist, girl. Like, it's a trope where I'm like,
Holly does not play.
I love a good fight. I'm sitting here like it's a toxic trait, but I grew up on Hallmark, so you know I love a good story where there's like a mean girl, like an ex who comes back to town, and they're like, "Oh, I missed you, and I don't want to let you go." And the male love interest is like, "I don't want you anymore, Becky. Leave me alone." And she's like, "But I love you. I still love you. I've always loved you, Brad. No." And the main
Hey,
character is like,
wait.
she's like, "I can't play with you, Brad." And Brad's like, "It's not what it looks like." There is something there, I love a good predictable
I
plot.
love it. It's not what it looks like. It's
It's not what it looks
exactly
like.
what it
My
looks
best friend
like.
saw you holding her hand at the park, bro. What do you mean? And it's like, oh my God. Do you have a book that you think of where, yes, it was predictable, but you loved it? You ate it up. You appreciated
Mm.
it. Yes, I have one. No one ever talks about it, and I'm like, your girl's gonna turn you in, turn you into it because it was so good. It was called Fallen Too Far. It's by Abby Glines. It's an audiobook, and I listened to it as an audiobook. That's very important. The audio actors are like Southern. They're like I think it's supposed to be set here in Florida. It's supposed to be set in like Rosemary Beach. Whatever. I'm girl, my nearest beach is 45 minutes away. But the point is, when I read that book, I I shifted into a beautiful world where I was, denim shorts, mosquito spray so I don't get eaten up, and I would have my little drinky drink. Long story short, this girl has a crush on a guy. She her mom passes away from an illness, and it's so sad, and she's grieving, and her dad who like left them, um she calls him and she's like, I have nowhere else to go. I had to sell our house, like I had to use the money for school, whatever. I'm living in my truck, like I need help and I need you to like show up. And he's like, okay, come to my mansion. I got remarried and now I'm rich, you can come to the mansion. She goes to the mansion in Rosemary Beach, Florida, and she goes to the mansion. There's a house party going on. She went, all right, I know you don't want me here. I'm just here to like be in a spare room, work a job for a few months, get my money together, and move. You guys don't owe me anything. She goes to the party, and this guy named Rush, yes, that's really his name. Rush is at the party, and yeah, I know it's
Okay, okay,
bad, but
okay,
listen,
okay. We
this is
listen, we
like
don't judge. Hold up, wait, hold up.
we not judging. You know why? Because this book is like the epitome of a fast food meal. You came to eat at 2 a.m. What did you expect? Enjoy the meal. Enjoy your spicy Sprite and your room temperature nuggies and your extra hot fries.
Okay.
And that's all it is. And you know what? We don't expect, a bougie meal. We only get our room temperature nuggies, our hot fries, and our extra spicy Sprite. So long story short,
That
so
sounds
long
like
story
a
short,
plan. I ain't about to lie to you. I'm about to
listen, bruh,
DoorDash.
that meal hits when it needs to hit. Are you alive? Did you die? It's that's the situation. So long story short, she meets him. Her dad is no longer with his wife with the mansion, so the wife with the mansion is the mom of Rush. And long story short, they're not supposed to be together. They are not together for a very long time. When she really needs him, he's not there. And you immediately assume he doesn't care about her. He's like, oh, he doesn't care about her. But you come to find out there's a reason he can't be there for her. It's a family secret. He has to protect someone, and there's a reason why. And it was so good. Like, I remember reading it.
Girl, drop the secret.
Girl, so it turned out the Blair, the main character, her mom, she thought her mom and dad, like, they just didn't work out. He left. Something horrible happened. He was grieving and he left. He felt like it was his fault and he had to leave. Okay. The mom, before all this went down, she used to live with him. The mom knew Rush when he was like a child. He had a really rough home life. And the mom used to like make him pancakes and everything. She used to wear these like satin pajamas, and she cut a piece of the satin pajama and she gave it to him as a child. She's like, "Hey, I have to leave, but here you can have this and always hold on to it whenever you need to feel safe." So he kept the satin all these years. Whenever he felt safe, whenever we went through really hard stuff, he always held on to the satin to like feel comforted because she meant a lot to him, like as a mother figure. He cared about her. Even though she was a family friend, he cared about her. And when he sees Blair again, she looks a lot like this woman who he really looked up to. And he does care about her, but like he's like, I can't fall for you because when your dad was with you and your mom, he had a daughter with someone else who I know. And when he left to be with you and take care of you, he left her behind. She had no one to take care of her. He's like, so I kind of adopted her, that girl, as my sister. She looks at you, whenever she looks at you, she just sees the life that she never got to have. And it literally hurts her. And he's like, I can't be with you because I feel like it disrespects my close friend. And she goes into such a dark place. The reason he wasn't there for Blair was because he was being mentally supportive to that girl. Like she was having a breakdown and he was just being there for her. And he didn't realize he was being
Mm.
manipulated. He didn't know. He just thought he was doing like out of the goodness of his heart. And he later sees his phone. His phone has been blown up with all these calls, and he's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And he realized he was being manipulated. Like he was being told, "Like I, don't leave me, don't leave me." And it turned out she knew that other girl needed him, and she made this big thing
This
so
whole
he would stay with
facade.
her. And he didn't know. He really didn't know. He really thought that she was like having a panic attack and like going through something really bad, and he was there for this other girl, like as a brother, like as a friend.
I would not have the patience for that. I ain't about to lie to you.
Bruh. And it goes on. There's like two other books. And this girl continues to be manipulative and just be horrible. But I loved the series because it was predictable. I knew what was gonna, I had a theory of what was going on, and I later found out. And I was like, okay. It was a safe bet. And Abby Lyons does that so well. Like she does like the small town, big problems situation. So I like that. But did you end up having a book in your mind, or you were like, I know what's gonna happen, but I ate it up? It was my Nuggies and my Sprite, you know?
It was the nuggets in my Sprite.
It was my Nuggies and
What's
my
the book
Sprite.
called? I'm trying to think. Cause I really trying to think of the title while I'm trying to go to my bookshelf.
You know what? It's okay because I have said book tropes and like what happens in the story, and then listeners will comment and be like, "Was it this?" I'm like, "Oh my God, it was that. It was." Like I mentioned that on an episode a while ago where I was like, "Guys, do you remember the title of this book? Because I loved this book, but I can't remember the title." And someone mentioned like, "Hey, is it this?" I'm like, "It was that." Crazy. But what happens in the
Oh,
book, even if you don't remember the
I want to
title?
go to my bookshelf so freaking bad. I'm trying to think.
You're an
It was like
author,
an
bruh.
unrequited love kind of thing.
Mm. I'm drinking Olipop. I haven't read Unrequited Love in a long
I like getting
time.
my feelings hurt. I'm not about to lie to you.
Unrequited Love? Unrequited Love. Also, whoever commented that I should do ASMR, I heard you. Papa heard you. And I may do it one day. You know?
Please, please.
Listen, y'all, I may do it one day. You know what? I may do it. I may do it. I
Girl,
might like flip through some
literally just had
pages.
candles lit everywhere. Have your little camera set and read
Yeah.
a little monologue and it put some niggas to sleep.
Listen, people, I have been informed by a special listener out there, my partner, that apparently I have a very calming voice. So I might just do like an episode where I read a book, or I read my favorite quotes from books. I have so many quotes that I love with all my heart. If I wasn't gonna get like copyrighted, I was gonna get in trouble, I would probably pick a few books to like read. Or I could write like a special chapter of such random things that keep you calm, and I would just read that. I
I'm
don't
really
know.
trying to think. It literally starts off the book telling the book how it's going to end. I completely
Aw.
forgot though. Technically,
Ooh. That's a smart move. I love a book where like the first chapter is like low key like vague for a reason. And you're like, what are you talking about? It's like, I knew I could never be with you. If only I told you the truth from day one. Boom, chapter one.
and then it starts with chapter one. And it starts speaking
Hey
the past tense.
yo, playing
Yes.
with my heart. I also love books that have like a letter writing element, where they're like writing letters to each other. Like there's an anonymous element where like I love like books where it's like I was messaging this one person and I was falling in love with them, and then it turns out that it was really the boy next door, the girl next door, or whatever. I love mistaken identity.
That is literally the first book. Do you want me to? Do you want me to? I feel like I might as well. I feel like I might as well.
Bruh, I feel like Elmo with the flames. I'm like, how much do you want to say? And it's just me with the flames, like, release it all. You
Release it
should leak the
all.
book. Leak the book. You're like, huh? I'm like, leak it. Leak it. Yes. You can tell me a little bit about tell the listeners a little bit about book one and then whatever you feel comfortable with book two and three. If it's gonna spoil book two or three, you don't have to mention
No, it's all good. Okay, so for book one,
it. She's
okay,
letting it
so book
out.
one, we got Tabia Sato, who is a bookstagrammer and is trying to make her own romance novel, but with her depression and not having that much support from her own mom, she doesn't really have the confidence. Although she did already finish the book as far as writing it, and there's a certain poetry author who specifically writes verse novels, and he has been following Tabia for a very long time. Has been liking her content, everything. She has been liking his content too because he got the biker aesthetic. Hey, who doesn't like a hot boy with a biker aesthetic? Like, come on now. And he's wearing the helmet too, so we don't even know what he looked like. You just base him off the tattoos.
It's giving lights out, bruh. It's giving lights out for the girlies who know. Okay, go
But
on.
come to find out, the poet, his name is actually Rio, and he is one of the best players that's on the hockey team. The hockey is the subplot, by the way.
Sports romance. Okay. I
And but unfortunately, he's failing calculus.
heard math be
So
hard.
that's when eventually he meets Tabia at a party all drunk and stuff, and of course acting a fool and disrespecting her. But he didn't but he didn't realize that the girl that he tried, when I say disrespect, I mean hooked up, because like, who's trying to hook up on the first night? That's disrespectful. But what Rio did not know is what Rio did not know is that the girl that he tried to hook up with and felt and ended up pissing off is literally the same girl he has been following on Instagram the entire time. So he is the secret author.
That is so cute, bro. Oh my God.
And with the help, she is helping him with calculus, and he is helping her finishing editing the book as far as getting it in process. But when him having a secret identity, because he goes by a pen name as well, he's go by a different name. He doesn't feel comfortable within his own skin because his interest as far as liking books and stuff like that. Because he's different with everybody else he's associated with, he has like a different persona, which is why he has a biker aesthetic in the first place. But
Mm.
really, he's just a Doberman.
He looks tough, but he's a real softie.
He's really a softie
Oh my God. That
with a
is so
little
cute.
brother. Oh, and not to mention the main character Tabia and the love interest little brother, that had the funniest dynamic ever.
Oh my God. I love when there's younger siblings in books and like you can see the female main character, like the male main character, like bonding with the little sibling. And like they joke around, like they have their own relationship and their own friendship. I love it. Also,
You
who
love
doesn't
the
love a
little
little brother who
siblings.
like pokes fun and like puts you in your place and humbles your ass real quick? Who
That's
doesn't?
that's like low key a substitute for like the single parent trope. It's like when
Yeah.
the main character is hanging out with the little sibling.
I mean, yeah, I have two younger brothers and they humble me constantly.
Dang,
So whenever
really?
I see like a younger siblings who are like, well, you're a broke ass, and they like run away and they're like, my mom's really bald, and they run away.
See, I could never. I'm the youngest.
Listen, I'm the oldest. there's struggles on both sides, okay? There's a struggle on both sides. It's the grass is actually not greener. Like this shit is tough.
This shit is tough.
This shit is tough. The oldest sibling is the white fridge. If you know, you know. And the youngest, I feel like the middle of the youngest get that beautiful, like, what is it? Like granite countertop, fucking like they have like the fan above the oven. Like shit's going real good. I feel like the older sibling had to see that like white fridge era. Like, I don't have the emotional stability for you right now. Or
Like your
it's even
patience is just thin to none.
they were practicing on you so that they could be ready for part one and part three. Like the trilogy is tough, but I also will say that I feel like younger siblings also like sometimes they get the shorter end of the stick because they don't get as much like support or attention after like such a big family. I've heard that as well. But it's nice to see in books where like the main character has siblings because sometimes the siblings will give advice. Like when things actually get serious, I especially love seeing a book where there's like an older brother or like an older sister and they're like, if you hurt her, I'll beat your ass. Because for me, even though my siblings are a lot younger, when they start dating and I meet their girlfriends, I'm just gonna be like, hey girl. They're like, oh hey, you're so cool. I'm like, do you want to get fries and nuggets and like spicy Sprite? They're like, yeah, 100%. The moment they get in my car and I have them removed from my brothers, I'm just gonna look at them and be like, you know how people get scared because they have like an older brother and older brothers are so scary? Yeah. I have an older sister and I'll beat your ass and I'll hide the body if you hurt him, bitch. Like I was sitting here like he gets on my
You could
nerve.
always overdose them with insulin and just
Oh
make sure it's
God.
under their tongue.
I'll feed you to the gators, girl. You know Dochi? That's me times 20. I'll get your ass and I'll make it look like nothing happened. That is the energy I'm looking for from older siblings in books where they're like, you know what? She a dumbass, but she my dumbass. And that's how it's gonna
She's
be.
my
You know, like
dumbass.
you can't call her a dumbass. Only I can call her a dumbass. That's like, I don't know. Whenever I see like an older sibling in a book or I see like a family dynamic where they are like super jokey and funny, but the moment shit gets serious, you're like, I'm gonna commit a crime, but I can't tell you where I'm going. They're like, oh, who's driving? You like without questions asked, they are committed to the friend. The friend groups are like ride or die, or their siblings are ride or die. I love shit like that. So that's why I saw your edits and I was like, wait, they all go hard for each other?
Hell yeah, they do.
I was like, I like this.
You're
I
gonna be
like this.
surprised. Caleb is actually the private guest, the private investigator.
Ooh, we love a good PI. We love a good PI. I mean, like, I think that was low key. Like you mentioned Twisted. I think you mentioned Twisted Lies, or like it was
Twisted
one of the
hate,
Twisted Hate. I can't tell you how
which
many
is
times
kind
a
of funny
day,
because I literally said earlier that I don't like enemies to lovers, but low key, Tabia and real Loki started off as enemies because he tried to hit on her. He was like, I'm not one of these bitches, bro.
bro. I'm okay with enemies to lovers. I just don't want it to get to the point where it's like there's no going back. I think there are certain things that are too far. I think there
Most
are certain
definitely.
things that are too far. Like I don't like public they,
Humiliation.
no, yeah, where they humiliate you in public on purpose. I don't like that. Like there's something about that that makes me see when it gets serious, it scares me. I'm like,
See, you might
don't.
lie, Tabia, because she's a Capricorn. And she's like, even if you didn't even mean what you said it with the intent to hurt me. And why would you do that?
I'm two steps ahead. I love a female main character who's like, I want to trust you, but you got to give me a reason. Like you don't just get it because you're cute.
You just don't get it because you get it.
Yeah, like you have to earn it. I think like with any romance, that's my only thing with insta love. Like I call it like the Twilight theory, or like you where the characters meet for the first time and then one character is like ride or die right away. And that's when I'm like, okay, if falls first or she falls first, that does not necessarily mean they fell first immediately. It just means that one person probably caught feelings earlier than the other. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean like insta love. There's something about insta love I just can't. Like the Bella concept where she met him and she felt all the things and like, but why? Like what about him was so
I
earth-shattering?
feel like instant love is a hit or miss because I feel like especially Blake nowadays, I feel like it's really just it's the physical attraction and
Hmm.
that's when like all the hookups to lovers stuff start coming in at. And
I
like
mean,
I'm
like,
like I'm not here
ooh,
for this.
like of all the tropes you can think of where you're like, I'm never gonna write this trope, is there one trope where you're like, no, like it's I can't. it's not going in my books. I can't do it.
Mm.
Because there are some tropes out there that are like really hype, and I read the book and I'm like, girl, where? Like what? Where's the magic? What? I don't see it. You know, there's some tropes out there where I'm like, it didn't give what it needed to give, and that's okay.
I think it's friends. I think it will be friends with benefits, and I'll only say this because I don't like physical attraction before anything else. I just don't.
I mean, like, I think my only thing with friends to benefits that I have read it a few times is that like I don't know what we're building up to. Like, are we building up to the commitment or are we building up to the happily ever after? Like,
It's like where y'all going with this?
yeah, be aware. I love spice. I don't mind if a book is mostly spice. I don't care. Like if there's certain books that are short and they're just meant to be spicy, that's totally fine. Like I'm here for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times where I'm like, if it's friends to lovers, I'm like, okay, so most of the book must have been when you guys were friends and it was building up, and then lovers is when you guys finally get together. Enemies to lovers, banter, spice, all the things. But like friends to like ben where are we going? I think that's the question is like where are we going? Is one person like not ready to commit? Are we both not ready to commit? I think more so what I'm craving and I'm feeling that I don't get to read that often is like yearning, like where they're actually like falling for each other and there's like mutual moments where they're like, damn, like I could really see myself like with this person long term. And they show the scenes where they begin to fall in love and like it's genuine. And then maybe there are scenes with like spice and it feels like there's more weight because they desire them as a person and for their body.
You
There's
know
something
what?
about
I got a question for you now. Out of
that.
all
Ooh,
the books you have read,
yeah.
um,
I read a lot.
I
A
know you
lot,
read a lot. So like
girl.
when it comes to like book couples
Mhm.
and like their love language,
Ooh.
what's their favorite one that you have seen thus far?
Ooh, I love that question. In love languages. I think I actually have it right here. I'm gonna pull it because I have the it's very rare. If I buy a series, it's because I really fucking love it. Like out of all these books that I have, a lot of them are like, yes, I have Legendborn, yes, I have Bloodmarked. I need to read
I need
these.
to upgrade my bookshelf.
I need to organize my shit. But I think the book I'm gonna reference is Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young. And this book blew my mind. It has anxiety rep that I thought was done really, really well. I don't like when like mental health rep is done and it's not done with respect and like compassion to people who actually go through that. But in
Mm.
this book, as someone who has really bad anxiety, who's managed it for so long, it's so rare that I've read a book that's like brought me to tears because I felt so seen. But while reading that book, I was like, holy shit, like, yeah, I definitely felt seen. And the way that the female main character navigates her anxiety and sometimes she needs time alone, the male love interest was so understanding and he was so
Oh.
compassionate towards her and trying to understand how he could be there for her as a friend before setting his emotions like he didn't rush her by any means even though he wanted her he cared about her there was desire there was all the things he never put his needs above hers and like where she was with her mental health and where she was like in life like when she wanted to go date and like they weren't together yet but when she wanted to go date and like go on dates even though he was a little jelly he had no right to be they weren't together so he and when she called him, she's like, oh, this date's going horribly. He was like listening to her. But deep down, he was like, you should be with me. And like he falls first. And the literally the character that he's based off of is like he's supposed to be physically modeled off of Jason Momoa, which I love curvy representation. Male, female, I love it. So she ends up wanting to create this like little like a tiny home. She ends up buying a bus and renovating it to become a tiny home. And she wants to like go on the road and stuff and he like works on cars he's a mechanic and he ends up helping her work on the tiny home and like
Oh.
it's really cute it's like acts of service it is friends to lovers but it's I don't consider it 100% like that because he had feelings for her like the night they met they got to talking he realized how fucking cool she was and he's like dude I kind of have a crush on her and then a year later he's like I've been flirting but I don't think she sees it. He's like, I've been trying, but I don't think I'm being clear. And then at one point she looks at him, she's like, "Are you flirting with me?" He's like, "For over a year now." Yeah. He was like, "I've been trying." And it's actually really cute. And
I
they
love
have to
that
be
corny shit. Oh my
it's so
god.
fucking cute, bruh. And like
That is so Melvin and Sophia encoded, bro. Oh my god, I'm supposed to be talking
I
about them too.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to read. If your books have like any couple that's the vibe of like, I want you, but I'm willing to listen to what you're saying rather than just being like, I want you. Do you want me now? If the character is obviously saying, I'm going through stuff, I just need you to be my friend right now. There's nothing that makes me happier than when the love interest is like, whatever you need. Like the love stuff will happen, but if you just need a friend, you just need a friend. Like, and that's maturity. Like that, and also it's kind of sexy for a character to be like, "Hey,
Sexy as
like
fuck.
I'm here for
Like
you,
we here with it. We here with it.
bruh." When they don't have like, there's something to be said for a character who genuinely, when you communicate, no, I'm not in that place right now. I just need you to be supportive and be kind, and they just want to be there for you. Authors who
And they're
are like
all
that
ears.
and they're all ears and they love your passions and like they love your hobbies. And if you say, I want to make a bus into a tiny home and I don't even have a license to drive this fucking tiny home. He literally drove her tiny home like from where she bought it to the garage, like because it was far away. He drove it himself because she couldn't drive yet. Like she couldn't drive a vehicle on that size. So he drove it himself. And whenever she would leave, like to go home and to rest and to eat, he would work on the tiny home when she wasn't there, like without her asking. Because he knew she wanted it done right away. I was like, ooh. So
The commitment.
that was so yes, that was Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young. And their their dynamic is so beautiful. And I will give a small spoiler. When the love confession does happen, it's not him to her. Like when it's finally time to be like, do you want me or not? Are you in? It's not him begging. Like, be with me. It's always like I love you so much.
The
It's
twist.
it's her having to finally confront like what she's been struggling with. And he's like, I've had your back. I've been nothing but upfront and like loving and kind. But like after a certain point, like I can't, you gotta choose it too. She literally like she drives in the rain in the fucking truck. Like she drives in this like horrible storm. Um, and she goes to his like family home and his family is wonderful and so sweet and so kind. And they live in like a regular house. Like it's a big family in this house. Like their knob to their shower doesn't work. So they had to put a rag around it and like kind of like try to tug it and twist it. And long story short, like his family is super sweet. She comes to the family home. She's sopping wet. She hasn't seen him in forever. Like she looks like shit. But she realized like I can't spend another day like without you. Like I'm playing games for no fucking reason. And she goes to him and she's like, "You're the man of my dreams." And like I'm just wasting
And he's not
time.
fucking around.
Yeah. And he's standing there and he's like, he's also romantic. He's like, is this really happening? And she's just saying, like, I don't want to waste any more time. Like, I want you to be my man. Like, I want you to be my husband. Like, what am I doing right now? And he was like, are you proposing to me? She's like, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And he's like, I accept this shit. Yeah. And it's amazing. And like, and his whole family's like in the kitchen, but they're like poking their head out. They're like, hey, yo, what's happening? Like, they're like, and it's so cool and cute. And like, their romance is just like, it makes me so happy. Like, that whole series makes me so happy. So, yes, Next to You has to be that couple. Also, Jane and August from One Last Stop is my other favorite couple, where they are like above like time and space.
What's their
Like,
love language?
I think it has to be acts of service and words of affirmation. And then in next to You, I think it's gonna have to be acts of service and physical touch because I remember that he was big on like hugging and stuff. And for her, acts of service was like working on the school bus. But for One Last Stop, it's a time warp romance. So one character is from like 50 years in the past, and the other character is from present day in New York. And one character is stuck on a subway train. Like they're stuck in time. And whenever they try to step off the subway train, they disappear. Yeah. So she was like a rebel in her time.
That's some K drama stuff.
It was some good. Yeah, this shit will hurt you. It'll hurt your shit. The same way that in a K drama where like she falls and like he'll catch him in slow motion and like he'll be like, "Whoa, are you okay?" And she'll be like, "Yeah, shiver me timbers. Shiver me timbers." And her lip gloss is always on point and she's never sweaty. And you're like, "Dang, girl, like what water do you drink?" But yeah, I love
I what water you drink.
what water you drink, girl. Your skin looks great. You're supposed to be middle class, but you look like a billionaire. What happening? But I'm saying, what are you drinking? I've tried whenever I get attached to a K-drama, it always ends up being like 15 episodes, one season, no season two ends on a cliffhanger. I've learned my lesson. I'm tired of this shit. I'm
Disappointing.
tired. I'm sick and tired. They always leave it on
Of
a
being sick and
cliffhanger.
tired. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I'm so sorry. You know what? Even though US shows don't always have the best writing, at least they end the season. Damn. K-dramas will leave you. They will leave you with questions and no answers. Hot ass actors who don't even get together in the end, or one person dies or has like a dark secret or something like that. And like I'm sick and tired. Also, we're the black women. I'm sick and I'm tired. I if you could show me a K-drama where there's a black woman who's the main character and she gets love and he's simping over her and he's all about her, I would watch it.
No, because them Koreans be loving some black women. I'm saying.
Where are the shows? Where are the movies? I show it to me now. I just want like I know people have mixed feelings about it, but like Exo Kitty, I like that show. I know it's not like a legit K-drama. It's not accurate to a lot of things and people have a lot of issues with it. But just in a show in general, like um To All the Boys I Loved Before, that was one of my favorite book to film adaptations. I loved those books. Like, come on. Like, I loved those books. Did you ever read them? Because they were fucking good.
Mm-mm.
They were so good. Like, bro, like, I read those books in high school and I love those bitches. Like, it was like this girl, like, Laura Jean, like, she wrote, like, all these letters to the boys that she loved in the past. And like maybe she like little crushes you had, things that happened, they never really like occurred, but you just had a crush. She wrote all
Mm-hmm.
these letters. She kept them in a box that her mom had passed away, but her mom had this like hat box that she gave her, and she kept all of the letters in this hat box in her closet. And her dad was cleaning out her closet, and you assume the dad threw out the letters, or he sent them in the mail. You later find out who actually sent them in the mail, but all of her letters get sent to the boys who they were written for. She wrote their real addresses on them. And one of the boys that it was sent to is Peter Kavinsky, and he goes to her school, and he's like a lacrosse guy. And the one of the letters that was sent out was to her older sister's boyfriend, a guy who she had a crush on before her sister ended up dating the guy. She had a crush on him first, but he ended up dating her sister for like later. So she ended up writing this letter to him saying like I've always loved you, but like I'm putting it away. Like it'll never happen. You're my older sister, and I respect that. Pretty much. He ends up getting the letter, and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't be with him. I need to find a boyfriend fast." So she kisses Peter, and she's like, because she had to make a distraction. She kissed his ass. She kissed his ass good. And then
To kiss him good.
she
That's
kissed him good. And
right.
now Peter is like, he's like, "You fucking used me." And she's like, "I did use you, bitch." And like, "I did use you, bitch." And he ends up having a girlfriend she keeps breaking up with him. And he's like, "You know what? I want to make her jealous. You use me. Let's make a plan. Let's fake date. And when it's over, it's over." Long story short, his bitch ass ends up falling in love with her. She falls in love with him too. It's adorable. It's amazing. And then there's two other books. Shit goes down. I will forever ship them. They're fantastic. And there's three movies on Netflix, and they're absolutely amazing. Their love language, it's not really a love language, but
What is it?
I guess it's like for Peter, I think it would 100% be um acts of service. Yeah, I think it would be acts of service. And then for Laura Jean, I don't know. I want to say words of affirmation because she really liked like they would make lists and they would like talk about things before. And whenever he would like confess his feelings for her, she'd always describe how magical it was. I don't know. I think she really likes words, and I think that for him, it's all about like actions and like feeling needed. I don't know. That's like the energy. But for your books, what are the love languages for your books?
See, that's hilarious. You would think that Rio, with him being a secret poet, you would think it would be worse of it would be worse affirmation for him too. But surprisingly, it's actually not. He does not have the courage to say any of the stuff to her face.
Listen, there are some people who feel a lot inside, but verbalizing that shit, it can be hard. It can be really, really hard. Like I have to write my stuff down when I talk to my partner because sometimes like I stutter sometimes. Not because I'm nervous like talking to them, but because it can be hard like putting everything you feel out loud. Sometimes it's easier to like write it down, and to communicate that way. So I don't know. I like that shit. Where like someone's
I
very
think
like
it's cute.
badass. They're all like shy
But
around their partner.
for Rio, I would say is physical touch because there is a separate scene that won't spoiler alert. There's a separate scene that I have wrote where Tabga she her hair is 4C. She had washed her hair and she was planning on getting it raided, right? This dude Rio came through and started massaging her scalp. It was purring like a freaking kitten. I
That's
just
so
think that scene was just plain
cute.
right. And
Give
another
it to me
thing,
now.
and for Tapia is for her, it's worth the affirmation, but in a different way. It was her idea uh to read each other's books they already had read, but what they did was is that specifically the books they had sketched each other, they already had annotated. So pretty much she was having him read between the lines.
That's so cute. Oh my God. Anything bookish in like a romance, I will eat that shit up so fast.
I would devour it.
Bruh, if one of them works in a library, yeah, that's it. The episode before this is called The Librarian's Gargoyle, and the female main character works in a library and she's trying to save her job. That came up before it's coming up before this episode. So it should be out when you guys are listening to this. But the main character works in a library in Paris and she ends up
Ooh,
falling in love with a mysterious woman who comes in.
a woman?
Yeah.
But
And
not
she and
only it takes place in Paris.
yeah,
What is she, a librarian or receptionist?
she's a librarian and so the main character is a librarian and she this is pretty I think it's in the 1920s. I think it's set in the 1920s. Yeah, dude, it's on Kindle Unlimited. This shit is amazing. It's The Librarian's Gargoyle by
I love it.
Evelyn Shine. It's so good. It's on Kindle Unlimited. You have to read it. It's a cozy monster romance and it's romantasy. And long story short, by day, she is a librarian. She's trying to fight these fucking like even though it has romantasy and it has fantasy, there are certain parts that are set in like real shit. Like she's living in a time where you're supposed to marry a man. She's living in a time where, women weren't necessarily supported working. So her having this job is her dream job. And she's working, she's trying to save her job. Everyone's like, you gotta get married. She's like, fuck that. Her family's like, you have to marry someone. She's like, I don't want to marry a man. She's like out. Like she knows she's queer. And one day she bumps into this beautiful, tall, dark, sexy woman. And she's like muscular, has
Ooh,
long hair, and she's wearing a suit and shit. You're like, ooh, who that? And this woman is like all soft spoken, but like she's super muscular and strong. You're like, huh? And she bumps into the librarian and she's like, I'm so sorry. So she drops all her fucking books and she's like, can I lift these for you? Oh my God. She like lifts all the books. She like helps her up. They talk. It's so amazing. And then you get the woman's like the mysterious woman's point of view, and it turns out she's not who she says she is. They're not strangers.
ooh, they're not strangers.
No, no. And it all
Shit,
I'm gonna
technically, Tabi and Rio ain't strangers either.
bruh when like one person knows you've spoke like it is mistaken identity. Yes, it is. By day, she's a librarian. The cute girl's a librarian. By night, her grandmother gave her these like magical slippers that she can put on, and it allows her to kind of defy gravity, if you will. Wicked reference. And she can hop from building to building. She can fly between buildings. She does it at night so no one can see her. She sneaks out of her window. And ever since she's been a child, she's always gone to this like beautiful tower, and it has all these like gargoyles, like these big stone figures with wings, like overlooking the city. And she can defy gravity, so she hops up
On some
there.
Batman shit.
Yeah, she hops up there. She feels safe, because she's like, my shoes protect me. Like magic's real. She works at a library because she wants to discover, like, is there any books about magic? Because her grandmother, she believes, had magical abilities before she passed on, and the shoes are magical. She's like, okay, it must fucking exist. And she goes up to this tower and she ties this like red bracelet to one of the gargoyle's wrists. And she talks to the gargoyle all the time because she doesn't really have a lot of friends. She tells
Oh.
the gargoyle everything, like, oh, my first girl that I liked, and like my job. And just like over the years, she tells her more and more stuff. And she like vents to this gargoyle, this like female gargoyle. And she never speaks back. She never
Wait, it's
moves.
the girl. The
Yes. Yeah.
ah!
Yeah, she is. She is. I mean,
Oh
yeah,
my
but
god.
yes. So like her creator, the Gargoyles creator, who's non-binary, the Gargoyles creator, I believe they go by they them. And the creator is like a wizard, and they're like, hey, you can be, I'll give you this ring, because the gargoyle is not allowed to move or just speak when there's humans around it. They're not allowed to do it. It goes against like their laws, so they couldn't speak whenever she was there. But she'd always like crawl, because they're this massive statue. She would crawl over their body and like lay in their arms and like talk to them, thinking they couldn't move. The gargoyle though has thought, and they think when she speaks. They remember everything she said. They view her as a friend, and gargoyles are meant to be protectors. So in lore, they're supposed to be protectors. So this gargoyle over the years has begun to care for her and like want to protect her and want to be there for her. And they're like, well, I don't have a soul, so my only purpose is to protect, like very to the point. But I do care. I think part of me does care. The gargoyle, when they come alive, and the author, this episode will be out by the time this episode comes out. You'll be able to listen to it. But the author, she's so sweet, and she talks about like the even the name of the gargoyle, like her name is derived from a real warrior queen in present day, like in our actual life. There was a warrior queen, and that is who the gargoyle is named after.
We
And
love an
it's
author
so
who knows her history.
and it's going to become a series. The books are going to become a series too. And she's
Oh,
also an
period.
independent author. So just amazing. I love Evelyn Shine. She's so cool. But the series, like, the gargoyle is given a ring and she's able to become human for a little bit. And she goes to the library to get books for her creator, and she just wants to see her. Like she just wants to see her. And she sees her and they talk, and then she gets the books and then she leaves and she's like, I want to see her again. It was supposed to be a one-time thing, but she's like, oh, I kind of want to see her again. And the story goes from there, and it's so good. It's so good.
Girl,
There's a
I
little bit
just
of
not realized
spice.
something.
It's good. It's good.
I just not realized something.
What?
I just realized that your last name is King.
Yes, my last name is King. Yeah, like
Period. Because Sophia's last name is King.
hey yo.
Speaking of,
Listen.
since I pretty much said what I needed to say for book one, let me say something for book two.
Okay.
Little off topic. How do you feel about anime cosplaying?
I do love anime and cosplay. I wish I had the talent to do that. I do not have the hand-eye coordination with a sewing kit. I wish I did. I wish I did. But
That's
I
like
love to wear costumes. So
that's actually something that's mentioned in book two. So the thing
yeah.
the thing is that
Listen.
Sophia her parents were script writers and playwriters, and her mom had passed away at a very young age, and the last thing that she gifted Sophia was the last play that she wrote. So she was going to put it on stage, and she was going to make the concerts and everything, but she has money, but not enough money to do this by herself, obviously. Of course, the dad, with him technically having a lot of money his freaking self, he want to just, like, just give her the money, but she wants to earn it. But as a college student, is there really any jobs available? Not really. So the love interest Melvin, this is actually mentioned in book one. His family owns a cafe shop that's around the campus.
That's so cozy.
So luckily, with Melvin already having the biggest crush on Sophia, with no hard work at all and very much ease, he pretty much got her the job at the cafe. So we got the coffee shop vibes, we got the theater vibes, we got all of that.
I love those vibes. Fun fact, listeners, I was a barista like 4 or 5 times. I worked in a lot of coffee shops in high school and my first year of college. So whenever I hear coffee shop, I'm immediately like getting flashbacks of working at Starbucks, getting flashbacks of working at independent coffee shops, working
Bruh, Tim
from
Hortons. I mean, I appreciate
yeah.
the free iced lattes, but
Girl, like I I think there is one thing I miss. I love reading books where there's a cafe element, especially when there's like a live music or like when they meet and they make like specialty drinks for each other or like there's baked goods and like they're nicknamed after things that happen in the book. I just I can't wait to read your book because like I feel like each book is gonna have its own vibe a little bit, but they'll complement each other, and that's something I'm so excited for. You have discussed a little bit about book one, book two. Do you feel comfortable talking a little bit about book three and like what
yes.
this the couple is like?
Mm-hmm. I can't spoil the love interest though
Understood.
because it is a but
I'm so excited. Okay.
the thing for this one is photography because Holly is a photography major. And this is giving like a little enemies to lovers slash academic
Ooh.
rivals because there is a photography contest and and like Holly, she like, oh, okay, I would like to do this. I would like to participate. But we got this, of course, we got this one girl who thinks she's better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh.
Holly, being the aggressor that she is, she's like, girl, fuck that shit.
Let me show him. Let me show him. We love a competitive, like badass.
Let me show you something real quick. Then she ended up winning. Then she ended up winning.
Cool.
And that's when like she will the girl, she will try to like be mean to her, but like deep down inside, she really can't. like 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 this particular character loves a badass female who can humble her, and that's Holly. So there is also
Ooh.
it's gonna be some Leslie spice in there. Not even gonna lie.
I'm screaming. The moment you said, and she needs someone who humbles her, I went, what do you mean by that? I was like, what are you trying to say? And you're like, there is LGBTQIA representation. I'm like, and this is why you're the best. And this is why. This is why I will always support you. Yes. Also, like, I think I see how much effort and like attention you pour into each one of your posts about the books and like each one of your plans for each part of the series. And even with the couples that are like are straight or whatever. I just want to see what happens. Like I want to know more about like their family dynamics, their passions, like why do they fall in love? What is the girlfriend like the girlfriend dynamic like in book 3 maybe? Like what does it look like when you write, enemies to lovers? Because every author does it differently. Like what is it going to be like when like there's conflict? How are they going to resolve it? What are your thoughts on third act breakups? Like is there going to be a third act breakup? Some people don't like that. Personally, I don't mind. Shit happens. It's okay.
Personally, that scares me.
Third act breakups?
Yeah, those scares me.
Really? Why do
Yeah,
they scare
because
you?
sometimes it's like y'all can low key work this out.
That's true. I do think that the
I
big
hate
trope is like
miscommunication,
miscommunication. People hate miscommunication.
especially when they're grown adults with kids or something. Like, no,
Mhm. Y- I I think I'm okay with miscommunication if it only lasts for like a chapter. I can't do an entire book. We're like what is it? Or it's like sliding doors where it's like maybe in a different life, maybe in a different time. I'm like, all right, well, we're in this life. We're in this time. What are you gonna do about it, son? I'm like,
I think I
I
can
can't.
handle miscommunication if it's beneficial to the plot.
That's a good answer. Okay. To close out this episode, I only have two more questions for you.
Okay.
And one of my questions is, were there any movies or shows that inspired your book series?
So specifically, well, it was so anime, but yeah, there is TV shows too. Um, I got the cosplay idea from My Dress Up Darling. That's an anime. I love that anime very much. It's so cute. It's so hilarious. And you Netflix. What else?
For which book?
Hmm?
For which book? What do you mean, girl? That's literally a stalker. What do you mean?
Theater. Theater.
Oh, for theater. Okay. Okay, got it, got it,
Mhm.
got it. Listen.
Um
Okay.
for book one, the book one is actually got me inspired by another book that the Lena Ferguson made called the Fake Mate with the Grey's Anatomy vibes with the doctors and the nurse because Tabia is going to be to be an MA slash pediatric nurse, so got that too.
Oh, okay. I love seeing like what the main character like majored in or like what their passion drew them into for school or even just for their career, like if they weren't even going to college. That's always, I think it says a lot about a character to see what they invest their life in or like what their job is in the book. I think it says a lot about them. So that's really cool.
I tried my best to showcase their major more to show a lot about the characters themselves.
I honestly like out of all the characters you've mentioned, I think I'm like most excited for book. I'm excited for all of them, but I think I'm really excited for book three, and I'm also really excited for book two because I'm like, but also like, I feel so nerdy for saying this, but like, I feel like each book is gonna bring its own like kind of like its own special element, and that's why I'm like, give them all to me now, take my money. So that's I can't wait. I can't wait till they come out.
I'm so glad you're
Um.
excited.
I am so excited. I will of course be linking your social medias below, so that people can follow you like I do and see all the updates. But my last question for you is, what has been your favorite part of writing the series, and what do you want listeners to know going in?
Okay, so I think my favorite part of writing the series is seeing how like you know how we get to the right side action and now we can get to the resolution.
Mhm.
I love you know how we brought the found family trope. I love how seeing how all the creators that I had created just come together and we all like move as one like in the power of friendship type shit.
It's giving power like Powerpuff Girls. Like each
Yes,
girl is like
Powerpuff Girls.
different vibes. Yeah. But when they all come together, they're powerful as individuals and they're powerful together. Okay. I
Plus,
see.
I love the big four. I love Tabia. I love Holly. I love Cameron. I love Sophia. Cameron is gonna be. I need to talk more about Cameron real quick. Cameron is gonna be that one rich friend who just pays for everything.
Sometimes you need that friend. I mean, also like I'm here for the friend that like always listens. There's so many ways to be wealthy. Like you can be wealthy in like finances, but you can also be wealthy in like love. Like you're always there to listen. You're always available. You answer every
You would
call. Like,
you would think the one with the most money would have like the spoiled brat attitude. It would be very self-centered, but actually for Cameron, she actually gives great advice because actually, believe it or not, Holly is the youngest, and Cameron is like up there with Tapia. So with the stuff that she had experienced, she's able to give her advice, and she said. Tapia was like, "How do you know all this?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just telling you advice that I wish someone had gave to me."
oh wow. When you
We
wrote
got
these
like a little,
characters,
we got like a little big sister trope that we wish we had, but Loki didn't.
bruh.
Yeah.
Speaking as the big sister, like there's a lot of things you want to have figured out But sometimes having an older friend does give you a lot of perspective. It does guide you in your decisions. Like it's nice to have people to talk to and like bounce ideas off of. And they become like your older sister. Like you can have found family. Like maybe where you didn't have an older sibling, you make a friend who's older and they become like your family. They become like that older sibling you always
And you
wanted.
just look up to them like you are so wise. Teach me everything you know.
Dead ass. I mean,
Save
like,
me.
hell yeah. Like I do love seeing friendships that like save each other. You know what I mean? Like where the love interest is important, but they're not the most important person in the main character's life. Like she has a support system outside of you, you know? And
And
I'm
doesn't
like,
necessarily have to be family. It could be
oh
blood.
yeah,
It could be thicker than water.
that's 100% true. You're so detailed with all these characters. Are any of them inspired by real people?
Based on how we handle certain situations, yeah, it is based off of my friend group. I'm not gonna lie.
That's so cool. Okay, so the people in your books, your characters, are somewhat fleshed out and complex, not just from your mind, but also a little bit from your loved ones.
hmm
Ooh,
like literally, I was just talking to my friend earlier who was giving very much Caleb vibes. I was like, you know what, this is something that Caleb would do.
I love
Like we
that
was
because
getting to a
you know them so
situation,
well.
and then I was encouraging my friend like, Loki, you should make a diss track. And I was like,
Ooh,
I was like, that's something that Caleb would do. I think he get all the information that he need for being a private investigator in the day. At night, he's about to rap about it.
not the Kendrick Lamar, bruh. Whenever
Like he's
someone
supposed to
says
catch a
revenge,
Lamar.
yeah, whenever someone says revenge, my brain is like Count of Monte Cristo. Also, Kendrick Lamar. Like those are the first two people who pop into my mind. Okay, and I think my last question was, what do you love so much, like so much about writing the series? And then, what do you want listeners to know going in? Like, once your books come out, like, what are some things where you're like, y'all, this is what you need to know going in. Like, this is the most important part of reading these books.
I would say, um, as I write this out, I still are putting in like warnings as
Mm-hmm.
far as like, sexual content, racism, abuse, and stuff like that. So like do be aware we are talking about serious subjects here. And
100%.
I hope no matter who you are and what you identify as, you are able to relate to these characters and so it can help whatever you're going through in real life, as long whether if it's romantic, whether it involves with family, or whether it involves in the workplace. No matter what shape or form, I hope it helps you somehow and still entertain you.
That
So
is
he
so
figure he
cool.
has a ha-has.
I love that. I do feel like seeing yourself in books is so important. I've done so many episodes on the podcast with other amazing book bloggers and authors where they discuss like the importance of representation, like having Black people in your books, having LGBTQ IA books, like people in your books. Also, like for me, what's really important is seeing like autism representation for people who have siblings with autism, ones with autism. There's so many ways to be on the spectrum. You know what I mean? Seeing OCD representation. There's so many books where people feel fucking seen because someone wrote that. They made sure that there was space. And for me, seeing Black women as main characters who are being loved on, like it's priceless to me.
I want my people to be seen. I want my people to be
100%.
heard. Like
100%.
if others cannot speak about it, I'm for damn sure gonna write it for y'all.
I don't I feel like there's so many times like I'm just gonna list because it's a big store, but like I've gone into Barnes and Noble and all of the books with like Black main characters or like romance books are either pushed all the way to the back or they put us all into like one bookshelf. They don't break it up by genre. They don't break it up by like any of that. They just put all of the books in one place. And I'm like,
You
okay,
notice
so
that too?
yeah. And I've noticed, I'm like, okay, so what's dark romance? What's contemporary? Like, they just put it all under romance. I'm like, okay, well, there's categories. You know what I mean? There seems to be categories for everybody else. Um, the same love and respect shown to big names by white authors should be shown to authors of color who write all sorts of books. We write sci-fi, we write romance, we write romantasy. Um, one of the big authors who I think of is like Gabby Burton, who wrote Drown Me with Dreams. Mermaids, action, adventure, romance. I can't wait to read that series. Kimberly Lemming, romantasy, humor, spice, like There are so many amazing fucking authors out there, but for some reason, all of the books, especially in big stores, get put into one spot. So we have to search for them, search like a motherfucker. And then if the store doesn't sell those books, you're shot of luck. You have to hope on Amazon. You have to hope on small business owners to have it. You know, like I think that's why Kindle Unlimited means so much to me. Because like when money is tight, that's honestly one of the major ways that I find independent authors' books on a budget. Because your library does not always have them, you know? So it's
I
one of
feel
those
like
things where it's tough.
I feel like in its own way that's another reason why in general why people would choose uh being an indie author than doing the traditional way because there's only a 50% chance that you right now you're going to get seen, especially if you're a minority too.
I I'm only like on the tip of the iceberg seeing how independent authors are impacted by the publishing industry, and it takes so much energy and love and dedication to get your book, and even independently just publishing it, marketing it. You wear so many hats. And my heart goes out to all independent authors out there. I will always make space, always. I will buy the book. I will make it happen. I would rather my money go towards books that make me feel something, and I know there was a lot of hard work and love put into it, rather than just buying the book because it was trendy on social media. Because there are some books
That
out
was
there
my
where like
biggest mistake.
I can't. I mean, like one of my favorite books of last year, a lot of people loved, but I didn't buy it because everyone was reading it. I bought it because I got a chance to talk to the author's social media one on one. She was a very sweet person, and I loved like her energy as a person. So I was like, yeah, let me read your book. Like, let me see the vibes, and the vibes were great. Like Mia Sheridan, another amazing author, Archer's Voice. I fucking love her book. I hope we could talk about her book together. Christina Forrest, she's a New York Times bestseller. I fucking love her book. We love supporting women who've publish books in all sorts of ways. But I think there is something to be said for, people of color who are really like putting their heart and soul into their books and looking at different routes to publish. Because it's just so much heart and it's so much dedication in any genre, horror, sci-fi, romance, any genre. It's hard to market yourself, you know? And also, all of these books are representations of your heart and your dreams. Like, these books are like your baby, you know? Sharing them out in the world. Like, please don't post bad reviews on books that you don't like. Just either like post a respectful review because authors see them, or don't post them on social media because it's just mean to like bash like somebody like Colleen Hoover. I may not have loved her book, but I don't dislike her as a person. I just didn't like the book. Then am I gonna put that on Goodreads and Amazon and Fable how much I hated her that one book? No.
No,
I'm not gonna do that. Like I may mention on the podcast, hey, yo, girl, I think that the way you wrote that was low key not healthy, but like at the end of the day, like it just wasn't for me, and it's okay. That book just wasn't for me, you know. But somebody else may have loved that shit, and that's totally fine. I have books that I adore that I know people probably don't like, you know. But I think I think authors should there should be some respect, you know what I mean, for like how much time and effort goes to writing a story, period. Like how much editing
they
goes
need to
towards
be more
it.
open-minded. I will say that.
I think that for independent authors, there definitely should be more space as well. Because I've heard horror stories, people saying, especially for Black authors, where like they'll try to share a book with a publishing house, like, oh, we already have that. I'm like, what do you mean?
That's
Like
a
we could
playbook
all,
y'all already have.
bruh. I'm like, you guys have thousands and thousands of books with the same cover and the same tropes and the same vibe, but you'll
Same
release them.
illustrator.
Yeah, you'll use the, and I'm just kind of like, but what about this book with it's discussing different topics and maybe in a different way? We already have that. I'm like, how about you ask the readers? Because
In the end, it's really not fair because it's really all opinion based.
that's 100% true. And I've heard a lot of my close friends and listeners reference that like where are the books with black female main characters where we get like happy endings? And it's not all about trauma. And it's not all about like, well, I was never chosen and I'm 25 years old and I've never been kissed before. Bitch, how's that realistic? You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, you're the first person she's ever met and she's never felt love before and like you're the only saving grace she has in this world. I call bullshit. Like she has no friends. She has no family. She doesn't have a pet. Like you're telling me she's got
No
nobody
companion.
else. Yeah, bro. She's got nobody else in this world to love her but you. you, that's so dangerous. Like tying all of your self-worth to the love interest. How's that healthy, my friend?
That's not,
How is
it's
that
not, first
healthy?
of all. It's
I
not.
can't, I can't. That's my only thing with like some romances. I'll read it and I'll be like, wait, so she had nobody who cared about her but you? Like, of course she's gonna crash out if this goes wrong. She's got so much rooted in this romance, bro. What about like even my favorite series of all time? Each one of the girls goes through something really hard, and the guys go through hard stuff too. But like
Of course.
they also have friendship though. Like they're only sole support isn't just the love interest. They have other people in their lives. Like
Soulmate's complete platonic too.
I 100% agree. I would love to read a romance where it's like she meets the guy or she, the guy meets somebody or she whoever meets whoever. And if they get into an argument or something bad happens or like, you know, they have a friend to call who's also in the book and like who is able to back them up and support them in that journey. I would love a book like that where
I
it's
love a
like
ride or die.
hell yeah, like a friend who, when the conflict happens in the book, who's like a core part of the story, who's there for you. Like I love that. Like there's a book I talk about her all the time because she's a fucking goddess and I love her so much. But there's a book where I don't want to I'm not going to say the title, but I will mention the author's name because I don't want to spoil which book it is because it's pretty deep in the series. But it is by Gianna Darling and it's a motorcycle romance and it's a crew. They all have a crew of they're all, motorcyclists. They have a tattoo shop, they have a mechanic shop, and they also are like by night they fight for people who can't fight for themselves.
Oh, period. We love justice.
We love justice. And one of the people in the group, he's a single dad and his daughter's mom passed away in a really horrible way. And he's been trying to he didn't love the mom, but he was there for her because she was going through something really bad. And he married her so she would get his benefits, like they were friends. And he loved her daughter so much. He cares a lot about her. And long story short, years later, he's trying to get revenge for her mom, what she went through. And the love interest is also trying to get revenge for the mom. And long story short, something really bad happens to the daughter. Um, and she's in the hospital. And, the main character has not seen her best friend in so long. They meet in secret, like they always hang out in secret. There's a reason why. And
Uh,
she gets a call that her best friend's been hurt. She rides over on her motorcycle. She hops off the motorcycle. She literally, like, her best friend would like does not want to be touched by anyone. Like when doctors try to touch her, she freaks out. She can't sleep. And the main character sees her. She sees her best friend in the hospital bed, and she like wraps her in her arms and just sleeps with her. Like they cuddle, and she like holds on to her.
oh.
My heart broke, bruh. It broke. And she like helps cut her best friend's hair. She dyes her hair a different color so she can like enter a new chapter for life. Like she literally trains her body and her mind so that she can like get revenge for her best friend's mom, like what happened to her mom. She trains for like a decade so she can get revenge. Like the love story is important, yes, but the friendship in that book meant so much to me. Like, oh my
That's more than
God.
you can bargain for. Fuck a romance, friendship.
Friendship, my man. Like a good friendship in a book, to me, only makes the romance better because it just shows the female main character or the male main character had a cornerstone in their life that like made them who they are. And that's their best friend. And I just love that. I'm like, especially the best friend gets a love story, like your books. Like in book one, we get to meet one of the girls and we get to like care about her so much. And then you see her other friends like referencing the other two books, the other three books. And then you get to see their love stories too. And maybe you get to see the character from book one in book two. Like to see them all like pop their heads in throughout the story and be present. That is like my favorite thing in a book series where you get to see characters. I get so happy. So
It's like,
yeah.
oh, I remembered you. You did this.
Yes, or like what if one of the guys from book one, who's actually gonna be the love interest in book two or book three, you see him in book one, you're like, I wonder what happened to him.
Oh,
this is
there you
what
go.
happened to him. Yes. So I'm so grateful that you came into the podcast. I'm so grateful that you let me ask you all the questions. You
I'm
didn't give
so
me a
grateful
single
that you
spoiler.
that we even got the chance to do this.
I'm so glad. Also, you slay. You look so good. Like,
Girl, you do too. We got a FaceTime.
authors, yes, you are such a cool you're gonna be an author. You're gonna be such an amazing, successful, wonderful author and get your flowers and get the attention and love you just deserve. You deserve it. You work so hard. So I can't wait to see your book come out. I am so, so excited. When it does come out, we can do another episode and discuss all the things about book one and the rest of the books in the series. But where can everyone find you?
Just Instagram. Now that TikTok is back and working officially,
Ooh.
we're not even about to talk about that. But now that TikTok is there officially,
Hmm.
I'll go start posting on TikTok too. But right now it's just Instagram, Nisha Skies,
Okay. Thank you
and
for
there
sharing your
you go.
Instagram. Yes, I will link your Instagram below. Everybody follow their Instagram so that you can check out what's going to be happening with these books when they come out. Do you have a date when they're planning on coming out? Are you still working on it? It's okay if you don't.
Unfortunately, I do still don't have the official date. It's gonna be in 2026 though.
Oh, okay. It's not next year. That's still good. It's better than nothing. It's better than to be known. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You're absolutely
Specifically in
wonderful.
the winter because the first book is set in the winter time. I will say that.
Ooh, okay, winter. It's giving November, it's giving December. We will see.
You will
The moment you
see.
said winter, I was like, ooh, I'm so excited for the girlies who know. The moment I heard about your book series coming out, I added that puppy to my TBR. I went, bam! I put it in my TBR folder I made on Instagram for any books that are coming out soon. I was like, I'm gonna find out. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. For everyone who listened, please like and subscribe if this is on YouTube and give a little comment below on Spotify. Be kind and follow Nisha. I will link her Instagram below. And thank you so much for everyone who listened. I hope you have a wonderful day.